welcome to another edition of XFeed. What's up? My name is Schiller. Today we're going over the conversation around some of the one-of-ones. Remember the time when they were going for exorbitant amounts of money? Going to bring back up the 9DCC, the Web3 luxury brand, compare it to something that the founder said, and also trying to package together a perspective on insights, which you might have some insights on certain things, you might not have insights on other things, and wishy-washy. The more that you're around, aware of certain things, the more that'll come to light, and we'll give kind of an explanation of all of that. Now, if you're wanting to get a little bit more educated, or educated for those that are educated, as they say, we do the RWA Segments podcast and spoke with Arthur B., who is actually the founder of Tezos, which is a massive blockchain. They're tokenizing uranium. You can check it out at uranium.io. Otherwise, if you check out the RWA Segments podcast, this was my guest this past week, and it was a spectacular conversation. And I keep going back to the fact of, you don't know what there is to like invest in. Not that it's investment advice or anything, but I remember watching esports like Overwatch as an example, and they had different ads for candy and these other things. And then at a point, I remember seeing on Twitch for a lot of these Overwatch streamers, all of a sudden I was getting ads from various banks saying, hey, did you know that you could invest? Did you know you could do this and that? And same with growing up as well, for the perspective of you hear about gold being this thing that people go out and buy instead of having just cash. They want to go into other assets, uranium. Apparently it's getting huge, and they're tokenizing it, and we get to see how they're exactly tokenizing uranium, which sounds hella hard. So check that out if you're interested in more. It's down in the description below on YouTube or on my bio on X. Lil Pudgy, 16560. 20,000 Lil Pudgies, if you didn't know. $32,000 or 13.49 ETH. It is a hot dog. Have you ever seen a penguin wearing a hot dog? Well, now you have, and now you know that that is roughly worth $32,000 in a market such as this. So this is arguably what most NFTs are. You have a base figure and you have a whole bunch of traits that go around it. For the average person, you'll show them this and they'll be like, okay, that looks kind of cool, but why the hell would I want to own that? Well, that's exactly the point. Entertainment value, having people care. As soon as somebody stops caring about something, it doesn't matter. But there's enough of an audience out there that cares about these green zombie monsters from Deadfellas that people are willing to pay money for it. So watch what people care about, and watch what intentions different people have as well. On the perspective front, here's Loopify, a little bit of a lengthier read, so let's get into it. I've been in the space for the last 5 years and been building a Treeverse for 4, which Treeverse is a game that is kind of looks like a Zelda type of game. I should probably like look this up to give you guys like an actual video. Maybe if we just go to his profile, we can bring it up here to give you a more accurate perspective, right? So like that's the cover art. If we go and check out media, I'm curious if they have, oh, here we go. Hopefully this doesn't blow out your ears. But it's got that sort of Zelda vibe to it. You got to go around, you have skills, collection, boss battles, dungeons, all that sort of stuff, but it's on Web3 rails. I've invested in dozens of projects privately, bought many liquid, and speak to a lot of founders. Tokens are the end game for most. It is an incredibly important milestone for everyone, and for most, the price action can be make or break your company. But mostly, when the product is vaporware and relies on pure hype. I know the token launch strategy in and out. Here's the perspective and how people speak with exchanges and the deals with market makers, fake floats, etc. We were told to launch a token in 2021. We had $1 billion opportunity because of the hype we had in the midst of the biggest gaming and NFT run ever. And if you think back, Bored Ape Yacht Club was somebody that went out and did a token. Cool Cats tried doing one at the time as well with the Milk token on Polygon. That didn't end up working. They sunsetted. A lot of other people did try to do things at the time. But it's interesting how he follows this up. We didn't do it because we morally thought it was wrong and we could have had zero, and we would have zero product. Excuse me. We are finally launching our token now, even though we could do it later, but we think it's the right time for the community to ride along. I've also seen that Polymos, which is like a Web3 loan service, also decided to do their TGE here. So sort of interesting, as we saw Doodles a little bit before, and Doodles got absolutely ridiculed for launching theirs when they did. for whatever reason. Treeverse is at a very pivotal development stage right now. We've launched on all platforms, iOS, Android, and Windows, and we are making fast progress in extra features and content. Season 2 will be much better than Season 1. We aren't at the beginning or the end, nor does the token signal the end, although it's called End Token. Interesting read. Think about the pure pressure that people had to launch something back in the day. And yesterday, when I make the note of, there was a time when if you had a token associated on FT, that was the hot bid. If there was a time there's a DAO associated, it's all part of the puzzle. So Carl, having the poll of the week, what project, yes, it is a product too, has the best one-of-one art? So we have Good Vibes Club, we have Doodles, we have, I know who this is, but why am I forgetting what the hell the name of it is? This is like the most popular NFT on ApeChain. We have the original Cool Cat Zombie. This is Bossu. This is Quirkies. This is Cyberkongs. This one, one of the one-of-ones when they're going for insane amounts. Chimpers. We got Pudgy Penguins, The Haunted House. We have Creeps. We have the Mories. We have Fugs, which is an abstract collection if you're not familiar. Moonbirds. The Plague. And then a Mutant Ape Yacht Club, which people would probably just say Bored Ape Yacht Club. But this is one of the reveals that happened on the first day of Ape Fest, like year 2 in New York. So what one do you think is the best? Although it's funny that all of these are exactly the same. And it goes back to my thesis of people just want to have whatever they enjoy as a filter. So if you're huge into skeletons, well, there you go. Now you got a filter from a bunch of different artists and collections. Charles from Ledger. The hardware wallet says, I'm excited to announce a huge technical milestone in Ledger's mission to simplify self-custody. Ledger Recovery Key, a PIN-protected physical card enabling storage and recovery of your 24 words with just a few taps. So this is sort of interesting because generally speaking, on these wallets, they give you like a piece of paper and then you write down the seed phrase, which is like, okay, but it's on a piece of paper. Now, there's people that take various steps on having engravings, doing this and that. Obviously, there's a point of, hey, we have to have like self-skill to be able to do this because we don't want to go to a supplier that's like, hey, I want you to etch these exact seed phrase words into a piece of metal. Because obviously that person, if they're being a little, suspicious, aloysius, could take advantage of that. But no KYC, no subscription fee, just peace of mind. That sounds interesting and looks kind of cool. We wanted to give you a preview into the technical details with the Ledger Recovery Key white paper, open source code review via GitHub, and more product details before it launches. But let's start with how Ledger Recovery Key works. Ledger Recovery Key is a private, encrypted, PIN-protected spare key to access your assets. It uses a secure element and secure NFC communication with the Ledger Flex or Ledger Stacks to back up or store your 24 words in just a few taps. It's not a replacement, but a safe and accessible complement to your traditional recovery sheet or recovery solution. So that's kind of interesting. They have this, but like, no, you know what? You still got to write it down. You got to do whatever you do. But here's an alternative. I kind of like the concept of it, not going to lie. Now, the question ultimately is how much does that cost? Jerome Powell today, what does he got to say?
That banks get to decide who their customers are. That's not our decision. And so banks are free to provide banking services to the crypto industry, to crypto companies. And banks are also free to conduct crypto activities as long as they do so in a way that is protective of safety and soundness.
Staying alive. We're staying alive. Again, banks had a huge issue with crypto a while ago. This is interesting. I mean, some are still probably going to have their qualms with it, but ultimately a very interesting wording on that. And what do we see come into the space that makes things spicy? And there was a post from one of like the Ripple co-founders the other day that was like eyes with no mouth or anything. People are speculating something big is going to happen with Ripple. So if you're an XRP fan, stay tuned. Potentially something big coming this week. Justin, Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev says crypto will replace traditional finance. Holy smokes.
I do think that crypto itself, there's two ways to look at it. One is a tradable asset like options, futures, and equities. The other is as a fundamental underlying technology.
Right.
And in the second lens, it's the next stage in evolution. We've gone from, paper and pencil, filing cabinet-based financial services to mainframe to on-premise, and then more recently cloud. Now, crypto is the next stage in that, where a lot of the business logic that we've required businesses to actually build is now shared infrastructure. So exchanges, lending pools, payment processors, all these things are replaced by software. So I think in the future, crypto technology will power trading and all sorts of financial services, including trading in stocks and other TradFi assets. So the two will fully merge.
So, agreed. But the question, and part of the speculation within the space, is where does all of that transpire? Is it on ETH? Is it on a different network? And that's what a lot of people are sort of betting on when they're looking at some of the bigger market caps and they see things. And again, if you look at the top 100 cryptos, there's still massive questions of why certain ones are where they are. And I do expect over the next couple of months, we will see a pretty drastic shift in what all of that looks like. So Celestia, founder dismisses FUD, cites a $100 million war chest amid backlash. All right. So Celestia is a blockchain, right? They're saying that they have a 100 mil war chest, which is cool, right? But keep that in mind. So G-Money, who was a part of the partnership between like Adidas, Pixel Vault, G-Money, Bored Ape Yacht Club way back in the day. If you remember, everybody had these yellow suits that were branded and they looked like a highlighter walking around. It's kind of hilarious. He was a part of that and continued to go on to build out 9DCC, which is a luxury or lifestyle clothing brand that's based off Web3 rails. And this was a post back on May 5th. Crypto is funny because 9DCC has almost 3 times the revenue that Celestia has done in the last 12 months, but Celestia trades at 2.6 billion fully diluted value, and every VC I talk to tells me they don't see an investable path for 9DCC. So we have this perspective, right? And this goes back to the overarching theme of this, of insights, knowledge, awareness of certain situations. You go back, all right. So Celestia, if they don't have anything actually going on, there's no revenue, or 9DCC, a clothing brand, can outpace that. Well, they have 100 million to work with. And then so it goes back to the point that all this is weird because we have like a shot at that. And then like recently 9DCC said basically like we're shutting down for it. But it's saying that they had all this revenue. And if you watch the show a lot, you'll know this is like the second time I'm bringing it up. But it's just like, you see all these things and you don't know that insights, right? Because at face value, when you originally read that Celestia comment, you're like, okay, well, if this clothing brand is doing better than Celestia, well, damn, they're screwed. It's like, well, maybe they're not screwed if they have $100 million to work with. But we've seen money squandered for sure. We've seen money squandered for sure. So, do you remember the Bored Ape Yacht Club stickers, the Telegram stickers that came out? And we highlighted that some other collections did them. Doodles was one of those, and I have to say, these don't look like anything Doodle related whatsoever. Like it doesn't sell me. Like you see that and you're like, oh, okay, like is that a Doodles? This is clearly something from the show when there's the jar goo, whatever they call for like their energy within it, or like the product that's being made to color the world. I don't know. I feel like Doodles could have ended up doing a little bit better on that front. MasterCard stock climbs a new crypto partnership with Chainlink. MasterCard shares are trading higher Tuesday morning. The stock is gaining following the announcement of a partnership with Chainlink. So back to the conversation around, well, TradFi, everything coming on chain, where exactly does all those transactions end up happening? MasterCard seeming to put themselves front and center to have a partnership with almost every chain, almost every product that is out there, and something that's almost maybe the smartest, well-positioned company trying to take advantage of the blockchain space. Because when you think of a lot of other ones right now, the top ones within the world, I mean, we haven't heard what Apple's doing within this. We don't know what Google's doing, even though apparently they have some like cloud infrastructure with like Rodin and some other different chains out there. I don't know. Just some food for thought. But that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed Understand. It's a little bit short, only 15 minutes, but there's not a whole lot that's going on. We'll see if tomorrow is more entertaining. But thank you for tuning on in. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday, and I'll catch you tomorrow. We'll talk soon. Peace.